You know, I'm not that impressed with Hell's Paradise episode 1. Mappa has gotten the atmosphere of this manga completely wrong. Hell's Paradise is supposed to have the vibe of 70s manga. That was my takeaway from it, and I read that series gruelingly 3 times. I love Hell's Paradise. I think it's pretty flawed, but it's a sensational modern day battle shonen. I really thought that Mappa coming to adapt yet another Shueisha blockbuster, that it would be a good adaptation. And it's still way too soon to say if this series is going to be dog shit or not, but the first episode was a complete letdown for me. Aside from the aforementioned issues that I have with Mappa not realizing that Hell's Paradise needs to have that gritty 70s style aesthetic to it, I think the emotions of the characters are also somewhat wrong. Jugoku Raku jumps right into the action, which I think is a good thing. And there is a lot of exposition, which not really a spoiler, but spoiler alert, there is a lot of talk no jutsu throughout this series, so be prepared for that. But the exposition came off very weird for me in this episode. The I love your wife scene in the manga resonated with me so well, and I knew I was getting into a series unlike anything that I had read in quite some time. There's a reason why Hell's Paradise is such a beloved Jump Plus series. It understands how to add nuance and density to a character, but still have it filtered through that shonen lens. And Mappa does a lot of shonen, so they should have gotten that, but I feel that every adaptation that they do, they try to commercialize it too much. They try to make it really sanitized. They put their own glossiness, their own sheen, their own clinical steps to how to produce an episode of anime, and it doesn't fucking work here. The exposition of the island is off. The studio took way too many liberties with adapting this scene. Yeah, you have to show how the boat will pull up to the port. I get that, but like the foot landing on the dock and then there being the second priest who sees more of the body exposed instead of just it really focusing on the head like what we saw in the manga, that kind of also took me out of it because it's like you're trying to shock us with body horror, and there is body horror in Hell's Paradise, but this just felt a little too on the nose. And the battle scene wasn't really great. Like the execution scenes leading up to it, I think should have had more detail to how Gabimaru survives them. And it's okay that they didn't, but I also had that feeling towards those execution scenes because I figured that the Asuman Gabimaru interaction would have been a lot more thrilling, and it really wasn't. It was just a lot of fucking talking and a real letdown of action. Is this what is to be expected with Hell's Paradise going forward? Every first episode of every series needs to not only visually stun the viewer, but it needs to be intellectually engaging. If it's not that, then you can't really expect them to come back for episode 2, 3, 4, and so on. I have so many other animes I can watch at any point in time. If you don't wrap me in with the first episode, you can't expect me to stick with it, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people found Hell's Paradise to be dull. I was absolutely let down by the ascetic blaze scene. Imagine seeing Iron Tail, Getsuga Tensho, Kamehameha, Rasengan, Gear Third, and it is as underwhelming and as quick as what we got here with Hell's Paradise. There is such significance to the main character's ability. When you first see that special move, it needs to resonate with the viewer, as I mentioned before. And if you're going to have the Kamehameha be in the first episode, then it needs to work. If it doesn't work, then you're going to have people like me who have seen other shonen, who have the option of watching other shonen, that will go to other series that understand the importance of a special ability. They understand the pacing and the framing involved with having a character show you what they're capable of doing. I really don't know what Mappa is trying to do here, because this episode felt extremely underwhelming. How do you sell this series to someone? I assure you, I could show this episode to any anime newbie and they would probably have the exact same sentiments that I do. I'm really hoping that the studio turns around this adaptation. I'm not going to drop it, and I do think there are going to be well adapted parts of the series. I'm looking forward to the ensemble cast of Hell's Paradise. I want to see the vibrancy of colors when we get to the island, and I need to see more battle scenes in an open environment. I do think that's where Mappa is really good when it comes to their choreography, and they understand large scale battles. But that also doesn't really come until much later into what would be the first season. So we'll see. A lot of static animation and a lot of underwhelming scenes. That's the vibe that I get with episode 1 of Hell's Paradise. Thanks for watching the video. If there are any anime recommendations that you guys have, please leave it in the comment section below.